Okay, so I don't have the question written down, but here's what it says. If the perimeter of a rectangle is 32 centimeters, what two whole number dimensions would give the greatest possible area? Write your answer in this format. Blank times blank, where two spaces represent the two numbers, not including units. An example of this that is not correct would be 1 times 16. So an example, so here's a rectangle. Let's suppose, and that a rectangle that has to have the perimeter of 32. What are some possible ways you can get the perimeter as 32? So that means distance around this whole thing has to be 32, and they want to know what's the greatest area. This, again, this question has nothing, this is a PAT question, past PAT question. It has nothing to do with surface area of a composite object. And yet here it is. On the PAT is a question like this. So it's very simple, yet also tricky, right? Where do you start? How do you go from here? So I don't know. Where would you go? Well, let's look at 32. How can I break this up into 4 sides? Okay, so I'm going to just try, if I put, 1 times 16 was the example it gave, or I gave. 1 times 16 would be the area. Okay, does that work? 16 plus 16? 16 plus 16 is 32. That doesn't work. It doesn't even work. So if this was 15 and this was 15, that would be 15 and 15 and 1. Okay, so 15 plus 1 is 16. 15 plus 1 is 16. So if you add these up, the perimeter is going to be 32. What would the area be? The area would be 1 times 15. Okay, let's now transfer some of this to here. So instead of making it 15, let's make it 14 and make this 2 and make this 14 and make this 2. Okay, so I'm just, same perimeter. 14 plus 2 is 16. 14 plus 2 is 16. And again, we're at 32 for our perimeter. Okay, 14 plus 2 is 16 plus that's 16. Okay, so our perimeter, what's this going to be as an area? 2 times 14. What's that going to be? 2 times 14 is 28, a bigger area. Okay, so I think you see where this is going. If I change this now, and I could draw another rectangle, but I'm just going to white it out. Oh, it's not working. Get rid of that, just so it's easier to see. So now this is 13 and 3. 13 and 3. What are we going to discover? It's also 16. It's same perimeter. 13 times 3, 3 times 13 is going to be 39, even bigger. So as you can tell, this is becoming more and more until it becomes a square. So that is how to solve the question, is how do you make 32 such that these are going to be maximized. Instead of being a rectangle, it's now a square. That should maximize the area. And when that area is maximized, this area is maximized, then you get the answer to the question. So that is a really good question, but it has nothing to do with surface area of a composite shape. My alarm.